Hello and welcome to Parenting After Dark. My name is Antoinette, and I am the creator of this podcast, Parenting After Dark. And I have been missing in action for a little while, taking care of some things personally. Life happens, and so we have to, deal with those things. We have to, get on board. Sometimes we have to reprioritize and just get back on the horse, kind of say. But I am just so grateful to be back. It's been a minute. Happy New Year, everyone. I hope your new year has started off great. I hope it is going great. We are now entering or have entered February, and I can't believe it. I can't believe we're already in February, and it seems like time is moving quickly. And so while I've been kind of on a hiatus and taking care of some things and really restructuring and reprioritizing some things because I'm going to be launching into some new endeavors. And so I'm super excited about that. I am just over the top about it because it's something I've wanted to do for a long time, and I'll share at a later date. But I'm doing a lot of things, but one of the things that has really been on my heart is to really start having heart to heart talks with parents, especially parents of teens. And this is where I'm going to be focusing at. Parents of teenagers, anywhere from 13 to 18, and focusing in on that relationship in particular. Have you been a single mom? Challenging as it was at that time because she was younger. When the teen years rolled around, it was even a greater challenge, and it was really hard. And I have to say, I was scared a lot of the time because I remember my teenage years. I remember the thoughts and the things that I did as a teenager. You just do stuff, you do stupid stuff, you do dumb stuff. But for the most part, I was scared because of the fact that I was like, how do I handle when she does her stuff? Right. And so a lot of times, it was just, I was like, Lord, help me. And what I didn't realize was the most important thing that I could have done was to really take time to connect with her. That means sit down because once they become teenagers, it's kind of like you have to shift your parenting. It's no longer just giving rules and instructions and laying down the law. Now you're dealing with someone who is emerging into adulthood. And so they deserve equal respect in every way. And sometimes that's hard because their behavior is, typical teenage behavior. They have a lot going on. There's a lot of hormones going on, a lot of feelings, a lot of thoughts. There's this greater pull to pull away from parents and to establish their own uh, values and beliefs about life. And, you know, um, they take and draw from their experiences. And it can be very confusing. If you remember your teen years, it can be very confusing. It can be very hard. If we reflect back, on our relationship with our parents at that time, I think we can really identify with our teens and where they are now. You know, we like to think that we're the best parents in the world. We like to think that, you know, maybe we're doing really good. And for the most part, we probably are. But if we were to ask our teenagers, right, if we were to really get their point of view on things, I think there might be some differences. And so I want to start a new series called Heart Talks because I want to help you to understand the importance of your relationship with your teenager at this point and the significance of it. I don't have to tell you. You can turn on the news and you can see for yourself what's going on in the world. There is a lot of evil in the world. There's a lot of evil people who are trying to do things, and there are good people that are trying to do things. And so oftentimes, if we really be honest, it seems like evil is winning all the time. It seems like people are becoming, more or doing more perverse things. They are, really doing some, out of the box things. And so this is the world that our teenagers are living in. It's not like the 70s, it's not like the 80s, it's not like the 90s. This is totally different. And so they are, I want to say, I'm thinking of the word solicited, but they are pursued. I think that's a better word. They are pursued in every way. There are people and things that are vying for their attention. There is the culture in and of itself that's promoting a lot of things that may be contra to the values and beliefs that you are or have instilled in your children, right? And so, right now, I know one of the common beliefs that oftentimes parents of teens believe is that now that they're older, they're more independent, I can kind of loosen the ropes, or, I don't have to be, so involved now. And yeah, to some degree, yes. But to a large degree, we have to stay just as involved, just as committed, just as attentive as when they were younger, and even more so now. And, with again, everything that's happening in the world, we have to be intentional about our parenting teens. We have to be intentional, intentional about, how we interact with them, how we engage with them, the time that we spend with them, what they're doing. Getting involved in their life doesn't mean give me your phone, tell me where you're going. It's not that. It is building a relationship through your connection with them. Really authentically sitting down and saying, "How was your day? What happened today?" And that might be a stark contrast to what your normal relationship is. So you don't want to come off as being fake. You don't want to come off as just, oh, mom is just trying to score, parent points. You want to come off authentically. So that may mean, arranging to go out to dinner and, talking about something, what's relevant for them today. You know what I'm saying? We know teens today, just like in any era, music has always been a major factor with teens. The latest and upcoming artists, and, the times and the culture for the 60s, it was a lot of music was around war and love and peace. 70s, it was more soul and funk and rock, right? 80s, you had rap, you had hip hop, coming out. Every era, every era had its music genre that was, the thing, for that time. And so some of the music now that our teens are listening to is ratchet, I have to say, but it's their music. They are identifying with it in some way, either through their identity, either through a source of validation, a source of belonging, and you know that music speaking to some part of them about relationships. That's a big one. We'll really have to get into that, but I'm just saying, like, now more than ever, we have to stay connected to our teens in such a way that it is genuine and authentic. It is building that relationship. It is seeing things through their eyes and seeing their perspective and respecting them and respecting how they feel, respecting what they think, what they believe. And so, parenting now, as your kids are teenagers, you actually come alongside them and you begin to talk to them as young adults. And whether it's talking to them about sex, talking to them about relationships, you want to be authentic and you want to really open up your heart because believe it or not, they want to hear from you and they want you to engage them in this way. They would probably, in most cases, want to know your thoughts. But most of all, I have to tell you what teens really want is that they want to know that you love them no matter what. That was one of the things that, when my daughter was a teen, I tried so hard to do it, but I realized that my struggle was not in showing her that I loved her. It was first knowing that I am loved by God and receiving his love for me, right? That was really the root of the issue because I mean, I've had experiences, in my walk with Christ, but deep down inside during that time especially, I didn't really feel like God loved me. I felt like I was always vying for his attention or whatever. And so I was caught up in my own thing and trying to, get healing in my emotions, trying to, you know, parent and work and all these things. And so I felt like I really was hitting it and missing it with her a lot. And I was like, man, something has got to give. We would go out to dinner and she would be on her phone. We really wouldn't have conversations and it was always kind of awkward. And I was like, what is going on? And I wanted more. I just didn't know how to really do it. I didn't want to come off as being one of those parents that I'm prodding and spying and looking or doing anything like that. I respected her privacy. I never went through her phone, never went in her room and went through her stuff. It's certain boundaries I just did not cross because there was that trust that was there. And her going to church with me every week, she wouldn't be in the sanctuary with me. She would be, either in teen ministry or whatever. And then there were some days that she didn't go to church, and that was fine. But having her own relationship with God is what really kept her. She told me later on, some things that she experienced in school with bullying and stuff like that, and how God helped her to overcome. And I remember those times. And I was just so afraid for her because she just felt, alone and she wasn't sure about a lot of things. And being the only child, I wish at that time, I had other children who can, encourage her, and, do what brothers and sisters do, but that wasn't the case. And so I found myself, just being in fear a lot and just hoping she was okay, hoping she would talk to me. And there was times she would, and there was times she wouldn't. I didn't know then the level of uh, hurt or whatever that she was in. And I didn't realize, or I had not realized, that during this time, there was a lot of development that was going on in her body, in her brain. And so there was, if you can think about, like, what do you call those zombies in movies? They always tend to walk like side to side because something is off or whatever. And it was almost as if that's how, teens grow and develop. Like their brain is not developing as fast as their bodies, as fast as their emotions, and as fast as their hormones. So they're kind of like all over the place. They feel awkward sometimes. They're not as secure. They're not as confident. And so during this time, I believe it's the greatest of importance that you pay attention to your team, that you are attentive, that you are there, that you are creating that safe space for them in your home, in your life, that you are spending the time with them that is needed. Sometimes they need a whole weekend where they can just be by themselves, and then other times, be with the family or just with one particular parent or whatever, and all of that's fine. You are coming alongside of them to be this coach, this guide, to give them that safe space to grow. Because one of the things I recognize, especially in this day and age, is that you have a lot of attacks against our teenagers, against their innocence. It's almost as if there's a perverse attitude that wants to just expose them to everything. And with them being having access to the internet and on through their phones and through schools, they have access to a lot more information, a lot more stuff that they need, that they really shouldn't, but it is available to them. And so that was out of that, I wanted to have heart talks with you as a parent, because I want you to begin to be intentional about, just getting more involved if you're not in your teen's life, getting more connected to them, getting to know them and actually spending time with them and actually liking them. And that's a struggle sometimes. We love our children, but we don't always like them. We don't always like what they do. We don't like the attitude and the sucking the teeth and all like that. But getting to that place where none of that really matters, but the fact that you want to be with them and you want to get to know them, get to know this emerging adult, this young person who is now coming into adulthood, who may or may not know what they want to do in life, right? They may not know if they want to go to college. They may not know what they want to do, but they are moving into adulthood nonetheless. And they need support, they need love, they need validation, they need encouragement, and they need to know most of all that they are loved, loved unconditionally. And so that's another area that I'd like to talk about, because a lot of times we think, we may be loving our children unconditionally and we're not. And that's okay in the sense of your kids understand that you're not perfect. But it's still important for you, us as parents, to be aware of that and how we need to begin to be intentional about that and what that actually looks like. So I'm so glad to be back. I'm so glad that I was able to get on tonight and really just share with you from my heart. If you have questions or if you have things that maybe you'd like for me to talk about more, you can always email me at the number one parenting after dark at gmail.com. Send me your questions, send me your thoughts. It's always welcome. Uh, Moving forward, we're going to continue to do this live stream, but I may change it up for March, but I will definitely let you know. Look, like us on social media, Facebook, Antoinette Clay, or you can follow me on Instagram here at Parenting After Dark, and also at Gmail at Parenting After Dark. And I'm looking forward to next week and really delving into more of what is really important, for now, for parents of teenagers today, and building that relationship and really getting connected to them, and really just thinking about all the things that sometimes we really don't want to talk about, we don't want to face, but we have to, because that's our role as parents, to be that source of foundation and trust and empathy and respect. So I hope you have a wonderful week ahead. I hope you had a wonderful day today. For those of you hit with the snow, I hope it wasn't too bad. And I will definitely see you next week right here on Parenting After Dark. Good night.